His keen technical knowledge combined with savvy business mind helps drive Bhise further. Earlier, he had worked with Infonian Technologies, Sendo Mobiles, Siemens and Wipro Technologies. So we have one of the fantastic guy here on the stage, handing over to him.
Brief introduction about just myself. So I'm Lalit, as Bhise said, I'm the CEO of Bhise, not Bhise. I don't know Bhise, but yeah. I've been in mobile applications or mobile software industry for almost 11 years now. So this is something I love to do in my life. You know, when I started out in this industry back in 98, 99, I was not sure whether I wanted to be in applications industry. My first job was where I was developing software for mobile applications. And I don't know how much of you are aware about the class system in the software development industry in the handset manufacturers domain. But if you know about it, you know that the UI guys are the lowest class. I mean, they all think that it's very easy. I mean, what could be so difficult? Drawing few buttons, drawing few screens. It can't be so difficult. Applications is something not looked up as a cool thing to do. Versus when you look at people like DSP guys or layer 1 guys, they sort of walk on water. I mean, everybody thinks they know everything about the school system. Which is true at some level because these are the most geek guys in the handset manufacturer. So as I was saying, when I started out, I was not sure whether I wanted to be in the application development industry. But I mean, then I was working at Siemens, and we actually created a mobile phone. We launched it, and one day I gifted it to my mother. And this was the S46 phone, and that is the day when it clicked. I could tell my mother, okay, so this phone book that you're using is developed by me. Or this call that you just made, actually the whole application was made by me. I don't know how many DSP guys can tell their mother, the call you just made, the AMR encoding for that call was done by my software, and I don't know how many mothers understand that bit. So that's when it clicked to me, in terms of how cool it is to be an applications developer rather than just be some geek working on layer 1s. So just to finish up, so since then I'm in love with developing mobile applications. I've developed them with multiple handset manufacturers. In 2006 I started with Bhise. We are primarily in business of developing mobile applications. To make it really easy and fast to develop those applications, we have developed a middleware platform, what we call as Mobitop. You can imagine it as a web runtime. There are multiple names or widget runtime. There are multiple branding names that you can use to define it. Right? So just to further rub it in my credentials about mobile software development, I've created this complicated looking diagram which probably you can all hear. But what I'm trying to say here is mobile web application. I mean, the popular perception is that a mobile web application is something which works over data networks, 3G, GPRS or Wi-Fi or so on and so forth. But it's not really true. In reality, mobile web application or mobile web is essentially delivering a web experience or a web content to mobile and vice versa, collaborating mobile data with rest of the mobile users using web as a medium. And to do that from mobile, you have multiple ways how you can do that. You can use SMS, you can use call, voice, pure voice, you can use CBS, you can use USSD. There are many ways in which a mobile can communicate with web or internet, as we call it popularly. And the back end you can use whatever that you wish to use. I mean, an enterprise server may not even use World Wide Web. It might use the internal cloud to do that. By the way, I would like to keep the session as interactive as Warner managed to do somehow. So if you guys have any questions, just feel free to raise your hand and ask a question. Otherwise, it's going to be very tough to spend this 1 hour. Another thing, I have only 10 slides to show. So if you are getting bored, at least you can track the progress, how far I have reached. So, right, how do you deploy a web application or a mobile web application? I mean, there are tons of options, as I was just mentioning. There are different mediums, and every medium comes with its own way of developing its own application or its own way of deploying its own application. If you have a voice-based application, you can deploy it with simple IVR. I think Just Dial is a great example on how you can develop web content onto mobile just using IVR. I think they use also SMS to deliver some of that content. You can use short, long code SMS. Twitter, I think somebody mentioned some time back Twitter. I mean, they do deliver mobile or web experience to mobile using SMS and vice versa. Obviously, then there are the conventional ways. You can develop a mobile site which a user can access using his browser, or more importantly, you can develop a downloadable mobile application, which is something at least I'm pretending to be an expert in. So because I'm pretending to be an expert in downloadable applications, what we are going to talk about today is mainly about downloadable mobile applications which use mobile or internet via mediums like GPRS or SMS. Any questions so far? Great. Okay, so we are going really fast. So, right. You may ask, why does one want to develop a mobile web application? I mean, that's sort of another fundamental question that I keep coming on to. Because when I started, there weren't many mobile web applications. There were mainly these games which you can play on your phone, or there were some utility applications, notes taker, there is a document viewer, there are tons of those applications. Just work on your own mobile. Why do we need mobile web? One of the reasons obviously is this Web 2.0 around 2004-2005 made it popular to collaborate, to be able to bring the cloud intelligence, as they say, if I want to use some marketing buzzword, I would say to bring the cloud intelligence to the mobile phone. And the cloud could be anything. I mean, this could be as a content cloud like YouTube, or it could be bringing together YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and this is the conventional consumer internet story. If you haven't even reached to the enterprise. For enterprise, that might be important to be able to track their sales data. And I've seen this, I mean, especially to all of the developers here, I would say that this is a very interesting use case. There are plenty of enterprises looking for really cool mobile applications which can deliver information that is kept in the enterprise cloud to the mobile and vice versa. And those are very silly or very simple ways to address those things as well. That's one way why we need mobile web applications. Another interesting way why we need, and this is for me especially much more important than the first use case, is to be able to deliver the information which is stored on mobile. I mean, so web enabled us to share the information which is stored on our computers with each other, to be able to collaborate, to be able to share, to be able to see what other people have done. And there is hardly anything done for mobile as such. And if you look at it that way, mobile has tons of interesting data. I mean, the simplest thing is your phone book. I mean, pretty much all of us have around 1,000 contacts in their phone book. How many friends do we have on Facebook? I'm fairly sure not 1,000. So those are the kind of information that if you put it in a collaborative way, if you're able to put this information to cloud, and if you're able to allow people to see. So for example, if I want to check a plumber, but the number is not in my phone book, but maybe my wife's phone book, if you're allowed to collaborate there using web as a medium, there are some awesome use cases to be explored out of this. And then there are other things like SMS, there is location information. I think there are already some applications which are using it pretty effectively. MapMyIndia is one of them. Pictures, files, I mean there are a number of, tons of data which is stored on mobile users' handset, which a web as a medium can enable us to collaborate or to share amongst each other.
I want to understand, like, how much percentage of mobile websites do we have compared to what's the ratio of having mobile websites to the normal website?
To the normal website?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one. No, to be honest, I have no clue. No, I have absolutely no clue about what exactly is the percentage. But at least looking at the trends, pretty much. So again, as far as I understand the whole business point of view, there is a 90-10 rule applicable to everywhere, whether you take it internet or whether you take it mobile. So 10% of the websites which are the most key ones generate the 90% of the hits, and the 90% of the websites generate the rest of the 10%. So from that perspective, I would say that the 10% of the websites which generate 90% of the hits in the web world all have equivalence onto the mobile world. So pretty much everything which is considered important onto the internet world surely has a mobile equivalent to it, as far as at least as the mobile side is concerned. As far as downloadable application is concerned, the ratio is, I think, probably 1% more than that.
And would all mobile web apps need to go into cloud, or is there any checklist as to have to understand? If all this is there, then only I